I'm back and I am back on a roll. On a roll. Hello, hi everyone. If you're watching this, my name is MrNiiMer and I bring to you MrNiiMer Geeks. Now, I made a previous video talking about emulation of old console games. Now, old console games are not the only games that can be emulated as and now. With, I don't know, should I say the miracle of programming or software engineers out there? People are now making emulators that are actually emulating new games and now. So from the old video that I did, which I'll put a link in the comment section, but from the old video, there are new emulators that are actually emulating games like GTA 5 on the new PlayStation 5 console, right? So just imagine back then emulators used to be software that you used to play old console games from the DOS era and then from the Sega era and from the N64 era and then from the Nintendo era and all those kind of old eras and the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2s and then the 3s. But now literally there are new emulators that you are using to play PS5 games, and not only PS5 games, PS4 games as well. It has even gotten to the point where there's actually an app that you can use, right? An app that you can use to play new PS5 and then PS4 games on your Steam console. So if you have a Steam machine or you have a Steam Deck, there's actually an app in the Steam store or the Steam store where you can download and then use it to play uh, PlayStation games. Now, in that video, when I made that video, I talked about the fact that when you go to most of these platforms out there, so when EA used to have EA Origin, PlayStation Network, or PlayStation Store, or Steam, or all of these game platforms nowadays, when you go and then you pay for money for the games, you are not actually buying the games, right? So the games are not yours still. You are just leasing the games, or you are buying or getting a license from whoever the vendor is so that you can play the game. So you're just buying the license. So Sony can just get up and then say, okay, well, we've made enough money from game and we are no longer going to spend or put any kind of money into development of games, and then our our catalog of games, we don't need it anymore, so we are just deleting everything, right? That is literally something that can happen. There was a story that I saw where I think someone was suing Google or so, where the problem they had was they had a bunch of data and then pictures and then a whole lot of stuff that they had uploaded onto their Google Drive. And then I think something happened and then Google deleted their account or something. And then now Google can't recover or give it back whatever data they had in their Google Drive. So I think they are suing Google. So there's something like that. So literally most of these game vendors can just get up one day and be like, okay, we are no longer in the game vending or the gaming business anymore. So whatever catalog that we have, it's all going away. I think recently, and then I think maybe this video might mention it, but there's a bunch of platforms out there that are literally doing that. I think it was Sony. I think Sony had a deal with maybe a studio or something where they had licensing for their movies, and then it was on their platform, and then a whole bunch of people bought it. And then when the deal between Sony and then um, the studio, their deal ended or they had to renew it, they lost the licensing, and then most of the people on Sony's platform also lost their movies, thinking, oh, because we've paid for it and all that kind of stuff. But again, like I said, you are just buying a license from whoever the vendor is for you to have access to whatever the content or the game or the movie or the picture or whatever is. You are not actually owning that thing. So now let's go into the video and then listen to what the guy says. I think this is Zach Hutt or Zakshat. Is it Zakshat or Zakhat? So ZACKSHUTT. So ZACKSHUTT. So if you're out there on Instagram, check him out. He makes a whole lot of nice content on tech. Most of the popular things that come up on the internet about tech, pop culture things when it involves tech and all that kind of stuff. So if you into that, you should just follow him. But I saw his video and I was like, okay, I'll play for my people out there. So shout out to him. So let's start. Oh, okay, sorry, it's on mute. I'll start over again.
Turns out you can burn your games onto a disk so that no company can ever delete them. What's going on? But first, follow me because I cover who's actually on your side in gaming. So a game store called GOG just spelled this out and it blew up. You buy a game, download the file, and save it to a disk, and it's yours forever. No storefronts permission needed. And you know what? The timing was anything but random because this week, Microsoft deleted a guy's whole account after a hack. Games.
Oh, okay. So it was Microsoft. So it wasn't Google. Sorry, Google, don't come and sue me. So it was Microsoft. Microsoft deletes a man's hacked OneDrive with 25 years of photos and then games as irreversible action prompts him to bemoan. I relied on Microsoft to keep that safe.
And everything, and Sony's killing PlayStation discs for good.
Oh, okay, and then Sony 2 is also killing PlayStation games. So now you can only get maybe the PS5 in digital, or if the PS6 is coming out, it's going to be in digital. It's no longer going to be where you can use the discs anymore. So this is from 2028. So let's say probably PS7 or PS8.
2028. GOG basically raised its hand and said, that's not going to happen here. And here's why that hits. Because on Steam, Epic, consoles, you're really just renting a game. You buy a license that they can switch off at any time, and
so like I said, you are literally just renting. You're not buying the actual thing. There's no physical copy of things anymore. You're just getting a license to use whatever the content is.
Just renting a game. You buy a license that they can switch off at any time, and it vanishes if your account does. GOG games have no lock on them. Once you download the file, it runs for freaking ever. No launcher, no internet, and no account check. You could delete GOG tomorrow, and every game you saved still works. And you know what? People are already running with this thing. They're burning their games on a real disc with custom box art sitting on a shelf like it's 1999. Now, yes, it's mostly older and indie games, so you're not going to find every new blockbuster there. But it's the one store on earth that can't reach into your library and delete what you paid for. So if you actually want to own a game, this is how. You download it, you burn it to a disc, and no company, no hack, no shutdown can ever take it back.
Now that's nice, right? That's really, really nice. But like he said, it's not like the blockbuster games. These are just like simple old games. But I think they are building their line because I actually checked them out. So where's the GOG games? GOG games. Now the cool thing here. So I don't know if this is the same thing. I don't know if it's the same thing, but the GOG that I know was GG Games, right? So the GOG that I knew was, yes. So this is like the original GOG. So what GOG used to do was, it was like should I cracked games? So cracked games where maybe what FIFA will come out, or NBA 2K will come out, or some popular game will come out, and then they crack it, and then they put the cracked versions on the internet. So I really like this where they are now changing into uh, these cool things. I think it's CD Project Red. So I think it's like CD Project Red. So wait, whoa, couldn't find which area would benefit the most from the help of GOG preservation. So I think this is the thing. So I think people are kind of like voting on it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you go to GOG.com, there's literally like a whole bunch of games on here that you can download and play. Like I said earlier, or like the guy said, it is not like blockbuster games. These are like, but when GOG started, like they were into cracked games, right? So this is also another one. So this is GOG Unlocked. So I think this is like the cracked version of something. I don't know, but this like okay, so full games library. Let's see. Let's go to F, and then okay. So there's a whole bunch of like cool games here. Is there something popular? Okay, so let's say F1 2014. So I think this is where you get the cracked version of most of the games out there. So there's GOG.com, and then there's GOGunlocked.com. But back in the day, I remember it was GOG. And then this is like the actual GOG store. So I don't know which this one is. But yeah, this is also where you can also buy. This is also one of their. So there's this for free games, and then there's this for like paid games. So now here you come here and then you actually buy the games, just like how most of these platforms are, the Sony's and then all that. When you come here, like you can actually. This is not the part. This is not where you can. What's the name? Download the games for free and all that. So this is one. This is one. So there's this. So now I saw this and I was like, oh, I'll talk to you guys about it. So if you're out there, now the emulators that I was talking about. So this is one. So the main emulator that has been coming up with a whole bunch of like stats in the news and all that kind of stuff is SharpEmu. So it's called SharpEmu. So SharpEmu is the emulator that has been able to emulate the GTA 5 and then the Astro Bots game. So from the previous video that I did, uh, so this is a test. This is like a 3-minute test. So Sharp emulator test. So can it run PS5 games on PCs? So I think maybe someone made a video to test things out. So this is it. So Sharp Emu experimental PS5 emulator. So if you're out there and you would want to try it, it's here for you. You can download it off GitHub. So there's the sharpemu.app for you, and then there's the SharpEmu repository on GitHub, so you can try that too as well. There's also the app that I talked about was Asobi. So the Asobi, so the ASOBI. This is the one that you have to download onto your Steam deck or your Steam machine to be able to stream PS5 games and PS4 games. And then there's also Kitty PS5 emulator. So you can also use Kitty PS5 emulator to also play other games too, like other PS5 games. So the emulators are Kitty PS5 and then SharpEmu. So if you're out there, then you'd want to use any of these things on your brand new PC with an NVIDIA graphics card or an AMD graphics card or a Radeon graphics card with whatever core, then CPU, and then maybe like 32 gigs of RAM and all that kind of stuff. You can use both of these. So SharpEmu and then Kitty PS5, and then try them out and see if you can play most of the PS5 games out there. So to all my PlayStation people, me, I'm still into retro games. Like I said last time on, I still have what's the name? So DOSBox. So I still have DOSBox to play those games. So those games like Prince of Persia and then Duke Nukem and all that kind of stuff. And then I also have what's the name? PPSS. So PPSS to play PlayStation Vita games. So PSP games and then PlayStation Vita games. You can use this to play those games too as well. So if you are into emulation and then you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions or any comments, put it in the comment section. And if you think this video is helpful to people out there or people that you know, share it to them and then let them also get a feel of how things are in this. And also, if you feel I'm good at this or at least you benefited in any way, subscribe to us and then help a nigga out. Alright, so thank you, and then see you guys in the next one.